What up, gang? Gang. What's going on, everybody? How are we doing? Let me load up. Where's my detached screen here? Beep, boop, 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 boop. 1 second, please. And then that's my main screen. I want to put that as just one. Oh gosh, what is this? An old style of mine. Look at all the shit I used to use. Oh my God. Wow. This is an old chart style of mine, everybody. Wow. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. What was I watching? How was I even knowing what was this? There's a stack of EMAs there. Jesus. You broke the EMAs. Go short. Oops. We're back above the EMAs. Oops. Craziness, man. This is what I actually used to watch. I don't think it's sharing screen yet, is it? Rats. Here we go. This is what I'm looking at. Look at that shit. Wow. This used to be my charts, everybody. If your charts look like this, I want you to take a step back because you got too much shit going on that you can't possibly make sense of any of it. All right, now let me load my real fucking style, please. Oh my God, what is this? This is not me. Remove all studies. I don't want any of them. Okay, there we go. That looks normal. This is intraday. What is what is happening? Craziness. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you all for being on here. Let me go. Hey, I'll say this: if anybody is successful, I joke around about the indicators. Hey, if they're a successful strategy, if it works for them consistently, nobody can talk shit, you know. But for me, that shit doesn't work. So, all right, let me just post to the room getting started. I wanted to do this lesson because today was a tricky one. And today was probably one of the trickier days that we've had. And I think I did a good job of calling it to be tricky, but I didn't do the best job of acting it. And we'll talk about that, right? So we'll just give one more minute before people, before we get really started. We'll let people trickle in here. But today was a game where we were battling a little bit of news, right? Obviously, everybody was well aware of the fact that we had some CPI data being released this morning, and that was really ultimately what moved the market, right? We saw this big move in the market in this pre-market session where we created an overnight high and an overnight low. Happens to be at pretty much two of the levels that I was already watching. I'm gonna remove this because that's not there. I'm gonna make this dashed. So for reference, I am bullish for now on like a move up towards here, just for anybody who's still trading in these conditions. I don't. It's a tough long, but I just no interest in shorts right now. But the reason today was tough is because of what I refer to as horny bear syndrome. And we talked about this a lot in the room today. And it's one of those principles that not enough people think about when they're trading, that they have to be thinking about. You have to think about these certain things. And today I mentioned something in the room because one of our members actually said, hey, can we do a voice chat today? I'm feeling some FOMO, blah, 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 blah. And it hadn't even occurred to me that people were feeling FOMO because we swung short overnight. We had some shorts overnight. So we were going to capitalize on at the open, right? But for me, I was like, hey, I don't want to, I'm going to try and sit back and not be very aggressive today because I don't think this is going to be super clean action. I'm going to take the overnight money that I got, that we made. So I'm not going to do a voice chat at the open. But I was like, okay, it's time to write a message and let everybody know something, right? So we wrote something out to the group early in the morning that said, I get that we are all excited. Here, let me actually stop and share on that. Stop share the Discord, right? I don't know if you can see it, but basically what it says is that I get we are all excited for the potential of a really nice down move today. However, we are all familiar with the horny bear principle, right? Which is that when people get so excited to trade because they can't wait to short the market, they can't wait for the market to go down. Everybody, when everybody as a group collectively thinks the market is going to go down, it doesn't. Why? Because then for whoever's the real big money back out there, the easiest trade for them just becomes squeezing shorts. So they'll just squeeze shorts for a day or two, push liquidity around, and trap a shit ton of bears, right? So the move for a short today was to sell your shorts at open and not stab again until we got some sort of confirmation under a level or under an overnight low. But basically I said, now I am bearish. I am looking for a move down, but I will not be a horny bear that gets roasted. Do not be that person. Say it with me. I'll be patient. I'll be disciplined. I will execute. Right? There was a couple opportunities for shorts today, but really it's been a long bias traders day. 110%. It's been a favor to the long bias traders, right? This is actually a decent uptrend, right? It's not the cleanest. There's some chop within there, some shifts here and momentum, some hard bar here to hold through. But this is an uptrend, right? We're holding higher highs and lows. You switch to an hourly chart, even with extended hours on. This is an uptrend, right? This is a move up. You switch to something like a 15-minute chart. We are holding higher lows on this 15-minute the entire time. Maybe right here is where you could argue for the first time we don't, but then we immediately rally back up. So it's not really a true breakdown, right? So the more you zoom out, you see that we actually had a clean uptrend today. And if you tried to fight this aggressively, then you suffered from horny bear syndrome. You got too excited for the potential downside and you talked yourself into a trade that wasn't there. Now, for those of you who are familiar with me at all, you are familiar with one of my basic and most core simple rules is that when a stock is above its opening print, I am primarily looking for longs. When a stock is below its opening print, I am primarily looking for shorts. This is a little bit off. We'll make it green. Here's where ES opened today. And this is the same thing as the SPY. This is the SPY, right? Same exact chart, just the futures of it. We opened here, tested the open once, and have never even been remotely close to the open since then. We've been displaying some extreme strength all day, being so far away from our opening print, right? So how could you have saved yourself a headache? Rule number one today, if you suffered from horny bear syndrome, meaning that you got stuck trying to short this or you even if you made profit or if you took a loss, doesn't matter, right? But if you did that, right, a simple way to have avoided that headache is to have said, hey, pre-market, hey, I'm feeling a little bit bearish today. I'm feeling really bearish. These inflation numbers, everybody, holy crap, man. They were nuts, right? The market's got to die. We're in a huge recession. Everyone's firing people. We're going down. That's what you tell yourself pre-market. The minute you start to think those thoughts, you need to stop and remind yourself, okay, I'm getting a little bit of horny bear syndrome here. Spoiler alert, there's horny bull syndrome. It works both ways, right? It's not just one or the other, right? But I'm feeling it a little bit. I'm getting a little too excited. You need to stop and reaffirm some rules for the day to prevent you from blowing up. A simple rule to prevent horny bear syndrome is, hey, are we above the opening print? Okay, no shorts. Done. You don't need my special level system for that. You don't need the levels that we use, the buy, you don't need the candle analysis and the charts that I've been staring at for 5 years and how I can figure out where a candle is going to go next off an individual bar. You don't need that. You just need the opening print. We above it? Okay, no shorts. I was feeling too horny today, feeling too excited. I don't want to get myself stuck. So in order for me to short, got to be below the open. How many of you would have saved a massive headache just from that today? And it's not just that. I was a victim of this to the reverse side on Monday. For some reason, in my thick skull, my strategy when something makes a move like this is to short it, right? Play it with the trend and short it. My dumbass decided to long something down here. Granted, I took 2 extremely small stops on Tesla. It was not a big loser for me, and I recognized my mistake early. But this is a way that how could I have saved myself that headache? How could I have saved myself from horny bull syndrome? Guess what? We're this far fucking beneath the opening print for the day. No longs. Simple. We're too weak for longs. It's just not going to work out, right? If you're trying to short SPY up here right now, in my opinion, if you were still shorting it, you're suffering from a little bit of horny bear syndrome. Right now, there was a valid reason to have tried a short right here, but it reacts in response so quickly. And it was such a harsh bar that it's hard to short through the low of that. And we never really even get a push through the low of that. So the only reason there is because we lose the 5-minute uptrend. And besides that, there's really no point in them shorting. If you're on, that's the first time we lose the 15-minute uptrend. 15-minute on the other frames never shifts to a downtrend. So there's no reason to be stabbing short, especially when we're this high above, unless you're trying to catch the top. which is fine, but you're going to lose fucking hair. It's going to turn gray trying to catch tops and bottoms, right? Trust me, I have gray hair. Where do you think it came from? My years trying to fucking catch tops and bottoms. It's the least worth it endeavor of all time, right? It's just not worth it, right? So when you come into the day with action like this, we look at the SPY pre-market, right? And we can see there's a lot of levels. I need to, so my SPY chart's messy. ES, I think is clean. Yeah. Right. When you see these harsher bars, right, in a range created and such, right? You flip to like an hourly chart. This is all just one big ass inside bar. We're still fully inside the bar from the CPI data release, right? We haven't moved or done anything, right? So it's easy. It's super easy today. I think that there are a ton of people, and it's very justified and understandable if you were more bearish than bullish coming into today. Hell, I wanted the big one down. I thought we were going to get potentially a clean flush, maybe down to 3,700, maybe down to new lows on the daily chart, you know, maybe, but I was trying to force the issue on that, right? I was trying to force that to be the case, right? The good news is, so let me reveal all to you what exactly I did today, right? I had a Tesla short swing overnight that was up about 80% something at open, 90% or something. I don't know the exact percentage. Interactive Brokers is bad with percentages. It was up, right? I sold half immediately at open and a little bit more on a spike down on the second 2-minute bar, right? So we made good money on that trade, but I didn't close it fully until like up here, right? I said, there was absolutely zero reason for me to have held the runners with the back half of that position towards up here, right? You could say, oh, well, you let them run back to break even. That's fine. It's like, no, it's not. It's an invalid trade, right? For me, coming into the day, I knew that there's a very real possibility that we could have exhausted down overnight, meaning that we have sold off as much as we were going to sell off overnight. Like this was it. And we were going to get a strong rally today. And when we started to see signs of that, especially breaks and closes and retests and holds over my key levels that I'm watching, right? It makes zero sense for me that why I tried to fight that and not get rid of my back half of my position earlier, right? Even risk reward wise, it didn't make a whole lot of sense because down to 650 would have been great, but the contracts I was in were out of the monies. It was not a great decision-making process. So that is how I personally suffered from horny bear syndrome today. Right? Granted, that's a good way to suffer from it, where if you just give back some profits, you know, whatever, not a good way, but that's a less bad way to suffer from horny bear syndrome because I didn't lose money because of it, right? I just ended up giving back some of what was a good trade, right? That's reasonable. But if you tried to fight this aggressively shorting, I'm not saying that from a technical reason, there wasn't like valid tries to, right? Like you were super bearish on Tesla for some reason. There's valid reasons to stab here, but understanding the conditions and round in which we were trading today, right? With the initial strength off the open, it really would have saved all of your headache, a lot of headaches from any of you who have tried to aggressively short it by just saying, hey, because I'm feeling extra bearish today, because everyone's feeling extra bearish today, because the whole world thinks we're going to move down, I'm just going to wait for an extra Visa confirmation. Right? It exists, and today it would have been either beneath the opening print or beneath overnight lows or beneath the level, right? We have technical indicators, whether you're using actual indicators or levels, price action. We have stuff that tells us information, gives us a perspective on what we think a stock is going to do, right? So we are able to create rules from that. For me, for example, today, acceptance over 686.9, I wanted to close my Tesla short. Well, guess what? These are all signs of acceptance. And on a 5-minute chart, we have one sort of soft, I guess you could call that a rejection, but then we never even break the low of that candle. So it doesn't really mean shit, right? This is more just a pause bar than anything. This is more a 1, 2, 3 pattern. Then it rallies up into a really nice bull flag. Right. And for me, that was how I suffered from horny bear syndrome today. And it cost me a good chunk of money. Right. And that's the reality of trading, is that no matter the stage that you're at, right, this is going to happen to all of you. Right. It's going to happen to all of you, and it's going to happen in different ways. right? This to me is not a tilt. I don't consider myself having tilted today. I don't consider myself having done, anything that. Then all I did later in the day was I long Tesla around here and caught a nice trade to the upside. It's the only other thing I've done today, right? So for me, I wouldn't necessarily call this a tilt, but it was me kind of ignoring my own advice. I was a horny bear, and I told people, don't be horny bears, right? And so no matter the stage you're at, this will affect you, but it'll affect you in different ways, right? For me, it was a relatively small effect today. I gave back some profits, but I didn't go on a bigger tilt. I didn't overtrade. I didn't go deep red. I didn't go anything like that, right? But for some of you out there, I'm sure that what happened is that you got cooked today. I'm sure there's some blown ports today. I think I know of a few in particular. I'm not going to say, who obviously, but I know that there's a few people that really struggled today. And it's not surprising to me, right? Because the world was bearish. And when the world is bearish, it's very easy for whoever there's big money out there to squeeze shorts and to make a move in the opposite direction, right? And if you try to fight this move up without waiting for confirmation, then you probably ate a bunch of stops today, or you are probably still holding it underwater short, wondering when is it going to be over, right? You want to know when it's going to be over, in my opinion? They're going to drive price all the way up here and take this out, and then they'll slam it back down and take this out. Does that actually happen? I have no idea, right? I have no money where my mouth is. I'm not telling any of you to enter calls right now. Don't fucking do that, okay? But I'm just saying, because we're in the middle right now, we are pretty much dead center of these two spikes. So which way do we go first? I got no fucking clue, right? There's no edge here anymore. In my opinion, we go up just because we have an uptrend to work with on 5, 15 hourly timeframes, not hourly, but 5, 15-minute timeframes, right? But then you could argue that the daily is still in a downtrend and failed, right? So, but for me, how far we are above this opening print and how strong it looks like this candle will close looks good, right? This looks like a little bit more upside. We're going to go and maybe take out this level. What do we do from there? Who knows? I'm not bullish overall, but basically my main point is there's no edge anymore here. So if you're still sitting at the desk looking for trades, I don't think you should be trading SPY, because I don't think there's a true edge in it. I think your only option for a trade right now, which I don't even think is even valid anymore, it would be something like a Tesla, which would be exhibiting relative strength, right? SPY is still beneath yesterday's range, right? Tesla, on the other hand, is exhibiting some relative strength. It's bull flagging above yesterday's high, right? That's a bullish sign. So if you need a trade, I would keep your eyes more in the direction of something that has either relative strength like this, if you're more bullish, or find something that has relative weakness. I don't know if anything, maybe a bank like this, I don't know. This is still so far above its opening print that I wouldn't want to short it. But maybe there is, find a relative weakness name to short. If you're trading SPY today for the rest of the day or trying to swing it tomorrow, I think you're just trading in an edgeless market, right? Even if we pull back all the way down to here, right? That's not really a clean short to me, because we're in a larger uptick trend. We're in a 15-minute uptick. We have the 15-minute failure to go lower here, right? I'm not really super interested in shorting here. I'm also not super interested in longing here. I feel like you would rather wait for a bigger pullback. But then if you wait for a bigger pullback, it's a slower high. It's bullshit, right? Don't worry about it for the rest of the day. Go ahead, get away from your screens right now, because this is trendless, in my opinion. We're in a tough spot. We are dead center of these two areas. So if you're a power hour trader and you're like, damn, I was really looking forward to power hour, take the damn day off, is my piece of advice, right? If you got slapped in the face today, if you tried to short and you had a horny bear syndrome and you got slapped in the face, I want you to look back when you're journaling your trades tonight, because I'm just assuming that you all journal. If you don't, that's your first fucking piece of homework, right? But when you journal your trades tonight, I want you to mark what you did, what the exact executions were, all as you would normally, right? Then I also want you to mark the emotions that you were feeling pre-market. I want you to write down, how was I feeling? What were the exact thoughts going through my head? Was it the inflation numbers for you? I'm talking to you all individually now. Was it the inflation numbers? Is that what made you super bearish, the number itself? Was it how many people were talking about shorting the market? Is that what made you that bearish in and of itself? Right? And again, this doesn't actually matter bearish or bullish. I'm just saying, what was it that caused you to have that bias, and what were you actually thinking in your head at the time? Right? Meaning, what was your thought process? Oh, inflation is this high, and we're for sure in a recession. Is that why you were talking yourself into it? Right? Understanding why you had created these expectations for today on a day where you should have had minimized expectations, unless the exact scenario played out. But on a day when you should have minimized expectations, you need to look back and say, what was the cause of me having these extended expectations? Right? Why were my expectations higher than they should be? Was it the fundamental thing? Was it people talking? Was it because you need to learn how to cut that out. I personally don't know. I think somebody said that the CPI number is 9.1 or something like that. I have no idea. I didn't know until later in the day. I have no idea what that fucking means, honestly, right? This is part of the reason why I don't listen to news. And I get some people like to pay attention to it and all that. I'm not going to try and argue with you on that right now. But my point is that if that impacted your bias today, right, you need to figure out a way to cut it out of your system completely. For me, news historically always impacted my bias. It led to situations like today where I would have had a horny bear syndrome. So for me, I cut it out completely. I don't listen to it at all. I don't pay attention to the numbers. I don't know about the rate hike shit. I have no idea. What are those going to tell me that the chart can't? Right? The inflation numbers were so bad that we have to die. Okay, cool. We'll die right below this support level and below the opening print. I'll be able to recognize it that way. Right? Okay, we're going to rally. We're going to strong rally. Okay, let's see how far are we above the opening print, because inflation wasn't that bad, I guess. I don't know. I have no fucking clue. But I don't assign reasons, abstract reasons to why what's happening. It's the great thing about my system and the system we as a group use. Everything has rationale. Shit might be irrational movement, but everything's explainable, right? Today, we were able to develop an uptrend. We pushed up from the open. We pulled back and held the opening print. And after holding the opening print, we were able to develop an uptrend, and we held that uptrend, right? So yeah, the longer time frames were bearish. Yeah, there was stuff that leading us to believe that it was point down, the market was going to go down. But if you ask, hey, Jake, why did the market go up today? Why, when inflation was so bad? Why? Because it held the fucking opening print. That's the only thing I care about. It held the opening print. Who cares what other news came out? Does any of it matter? We held the open. If we hold the open, the stock holds the open. What color is its daily candle, everybody? If a stock closes above the open, someone give me some comments in chat. Someone just give me some comments. If we're above the open, what color should it be? Green. Joel, I'm watching you. It should be green. It's simple, right? Right? So I don't care how bad inflation numbers are, if the daily candle is green, the market's not that bearish. That's just a fact. Right? Same thing works in reverse. If the daily candle is red, how bullish is the news really? Right? It can't even get above the opening print for the day. Right? So I'm not telling you that you have to ignore news. I'm not saying, I don't know. You can do whatever you want. But for me, anything that impacts my bias in a way like that, like the news, right? Or like something like the specifics of an earnings report, or like people telling me that like labor markets are terrible and everything's going to shit and the world's going to end and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's fine and dandy. I get it. I'm not actually listening when any of you tell me that, because I can't. It puts a bias in my head, and I can't have that. So it's cut. So everything for me is down to some sort of technical reason, right? If you got caught up today when you're journaling, I want you to look back and say, okay, what was it that caused me to get caught up? What was the fundamental reason why I came into today with overly hyped expectations? What was the cause of that? Right? And then in order to work on it on the future, you need to recognize whatever was the cause and cut that shit out at the root. And for me, it's news. I don't know if that's necessarily the case for you. For you, it might be fucking signals, right? I'm proud of myself that I didn't signal any new shorts today. We 2-0 for me today. It's all I had. But maybe you followed signals from somebody else within I haven't checked anybody else, but other analysts or team, maybe they were wrong. Maybe you're from not in the room, you're from somewhere else, and you followed a signal there. Maybe fucking signals are what's toxic to you, or in the thing that you need to cut out and ignore. I don't know, right? And I frankly don't care what specifically it is, but if you got caught with overly hyped expectations today, then there's some sort of root cause like that. And I need you to identify why and start to cut that out, right? If you want to make real progress as a trader, you need to start taking the real steps that professionals take. This is one of them. Reviewing your causes, like what would a Fortune 500 company do if you were their business, right? They would send in a fucking expert to fix up, make sure that you're operating at your highest efficiency level, right? They wouldn't tolerate any bullshit or BS. So if you were now struggling, or if you had a tough day, right? Now look at it from the job of like a professional, right? How would a professional athlete handle, a shooting slump, right? First, they'd go shoot a little bit more, but then they'd also clear their mind, take a step back, because it's not anything different with their fucking form. Steph Curry's form hasn't changed in 6 years. He's cold for a couple of weeks in a row, probably just needs to take some mental time to chill. I guarantee you it has more to do with up here than it has to do with anything else, even for something like a professional athlete. That is the same thing we do, right? So you need to clear your head a little bit and understand that it's not technical, probably not technical. There's some sort of technical factors that could be, in play and could have saved you a headache today. But the technical analysis is not your, I'm speaking to everybody. That's not the problem as a whole, right? It's something up here. And as a professional, if you really want to do this long term, you have to start treating your brain like a professional trader would, right? No more excuses, no more this, that. Trade like me, like Rake, is sitting right fucking behind you, over your corner, over your shoulder, watching, right? Because if you have to explain it to me, right, and you have to justify to me why you did some dumb shit, you're probably not going to do the dumb shit, because I'm going to be right there watching, telling you not to do, right? So that is one of the rules that comes from a book from an author, Brett Sundberg. Couch trading is what we call it. Trade like somebody is watching you from behind on the couch. And you can pretend that person is me, because guess what? We'll have a good time afterwards. We'll have a drink. We'll smoke a joint. We'll have fun. But if you break rules, I'm going to fucking yell at you. Because if you want to do this long term, you have to start making some progress, everybody. These kind of days, you have to learn to manage them, or else no matter what, you are always going to struggle. Okay, so for me, that's all I had. If people were wondering why, there was one question, why I was short Tesla overnight. One was, it was a gamble for the CPI, right? I was thinking maybe bad data come out. So anything swings from last night was a kind of gamble, and not really, because it was good risk reward, but still, it was high risk, I guess would be the explanation for it. But I like this daily chart for a rejection. We're at the top of the range here, right? And we failed that. I was thinking maybe we could go down trade to the lower end of the range after a pause bar here, kind of like a variation of a 1, 2, 3 pattern. Kind of worked in the beginning of the day because we got the big gap down. We just ended up rallying. And so I closed, right? So no biggie. For those of you who are in the spread, yeah, it was a failure to go lower, just like Jordan mentioned. Yeah, it was a great and a powerful one to the upside. We caught a nice long off it right here. For any of you who are, I got a few DMs asking me about the debit spread that I posted for free. I posted that it was 100% profit this morning. I'll be honest, I'm still holding it because I had other Tesla puts that I took profit in. I'm way in profit with Tesla. That to me was something I was just going to hold, and I kind of forgot about it. But if you took that on Instagram and you're not in the group and you just followed that, I apologize, but I trade on my own and I have a group. My priority was not telling everybody on Instagram for free when I closed that position. I was watching the market. It was the first 5 minutes into the day. I hope that if you're up 100%, you took the 100% and you're happy, right? If not, this is a learning lesson. You don't wait for my signal to close the free stuff on Instagram, because I love you all, but that's where I'm putting my attention. I have to trade and stuff, that's where my eyes and ears are, right? So hopefully everybody made some money on that today, though. If you see me also post that we're up 100%, usually that's a sign to like, hey, take some profit. But worst case scenario, I imagine some people might still be holding that, and it's probably going to go to zero, everybody. So I would just close it now if you want to salvage the dollars on it. But great trade. It ended up going to 100%, over 100% profit. So it was a good trade. It's just for me, I was using it as, I use those spreads more as my runners, right? Because I have the puts themselves. And like for me, if I really wanted to make money off Tesla short, I would have I would use the puts that I was in, right? Those are what I wanted to hold for more as runners in case we get like the big massive move down, which is kind of how I trade in general with these spreads, right? Is I use my puts, my main position, puts or calls, as exactly what I said, the main position. And then the spreads more as like runners, because I really wanted to try and hold those to get the big W's, but it didn't work out this time. There's no harm, no foul though. It was in my sister's account and in Wendy's account, so they're fucked. They blew their ports. It's not my fault though. It's not me, not my account. Although it is my cash, so that's annoying. But other than that, I love you all. I hope that you traded safe today. I hope if you didn't, don't be too discouraged, but start to look at the core reasons of why what happened, right? If you don't make any progress from this, then it really isn't, a step. You can't count this day as anything good, or you can't, if you don't learn from it, what did it mean, right? Learn from it in some way, shape, or form. Make it meaningful. Make it a meaningful day, okay? All right, in either direction, make it a meaningful day, okay? All right, everybody. I love you all very, very much. If you want to put something on your Instagram story, I would love it. If not, I don't really mind. Mastermind 3 updates are coming soon. I have a meeting with my back end genius about it later today. So we'll get that information out soon. All right. I love you all. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. Okay. We'll post this up on YouTube for everybody to see.